Hello and thank you for watching my video. This is my fourth run in the Fractal the Mist dungeon run series, looking at the different types or the different fractals available. And this one again, it's showing off the different fractals that we've not covered on my channel. We actually only have 3 fractals in this run, pretty much because one of the other fractals I'd already achieved or already shown on my channel. And in this case, we actually get the Mossman sort of swamp path. You get 2 different paths in this, one being Bloom Hunger, which I've already shown on this channel, and this is being the Mossman. Now, there are several strategies that you can do to take out Mossman. He's pretty easy. Just a point, we're actually on level 10. This is a level 10 fractal. I'm on my condition engineer, so again, I'm trying something different to show you guys a bit of variety. I've already had my Guardian and also my Elementalist doing Fractals of the Mists, so I wanted to give you guys a little bit different, something varied for this particular Fractal. Now, you can actually pull the Mossman into the water, and it is a technique that can be used. I've done it in the past. However, I don't feel it's necessarily the best option. Particularly when you're at a level 10 path, it is just pretty quick to go and kill him, no questions asked. Just, we're not doing too much. It's not too difficult. Well, Mossman, his sort of unique ability, he's got some pretty heavy damage skills that he has available. He also spawns adds, which will be the wolves, which actually are beneficial because you can, sort of, if you do get downed, you can res off them. Because if you kill a wolf, you can, sort of get back up, get sort of revived, and then you're back in the fight. Mossman does do this sort of stealth teleport thing where he sort of stealths away, and you can't actually sort of attack him. But that's just what makes it a little bit slower than, for example, Bloom Hunger. The Bloom Hunger option, the secondary option of Swamp. But there we go. That is the Mossman. Obviously, this is level 10. At level 50, he is much harder and much more tricky to take out. But I just wanted to show you guys the different option we have here for the Swamp Fractal. For some of the other paths, I will try and do different variations, particularly, you've got the underwater one where we turned to a dolphin on my previous run. We have another one that we've got to try and do as well. Okay, so we're going to be proceeding on, and this is the Molten Facility Fractal, I believe, or the Underground Fractal. I'll have to double check with that later. But this is actually one that came in part. We first experienced this as part of the Flame and Frost Living World update, and this is pretty cool. That the fact that they brought this back into the Fractals to obviously go back and experience, season 1 of the Living World. Gives people a chance to sort of, see how Rox and Braham actually first got together. And this is a pretty straightforward fractal. It's a little bit lengthy-ish, but again, it's one that I haven't showed off on my channel before. So to start off, you can see that we're all stacked up at this point here, and there is a reason behind that. We've actually spoken to the NPCs. We'll get a portal that will appear, and you'll have Dredge and the Flame Legion, the Molten Alliance as it is. They will appear out of that portal and come up over here, and we are well stacked. So we've got a lot of veterans appear, and you'll actually get one final elite that will appear. You'll notice as well, again, I'm switching between grenades and bombs, because I do quite a substantial amount of damage. You can see the amount of confusion damage I'm doing there. I think earlier you might have just seen me hit it for like 3,000 or so odd for my confusion, because I have a couple of different confusion abilities. I've got my bomb, which causes confusion, and also my pistol skill 3, which causes confusion. It also causes blindness, which is useless against Dredge. But there we go. That is that first part done. Now the next bit, we actually have this sort of tunneling machine, and you'll notice on the mini-map there's a couple of little red cogs indicating sort of geysers, and the idea is that each one we have to put a boulder to cover the geyser, and each geyser is protected by several sort of enemies, and each geyser has a different mob set, so you can have sort of oozes, or you can have elementals, or you'll see as we progress on. You can't actually go too close to it. I just wanted to show you there. Me actually going right up to it, you get burned, and the burns last a long time, so please be wary of that. Do not get right behind the sort of the spitting rocks. And you'll get a lot of tremors that will shake the roof of the tunnel, and this is the more annoying thing. Unless you have stability, it does knock you down. So you see that red AoE there, that red ring will in that area will knock you down. So you can see here we've got some ooze here, and the idea is that we kill all of these whilst the tunneling machine's going on. And again, they can be pretty dangerous, so be wary. You want to get in, it's very close quartered, so they do a lot of AoE effects, so you want to be careful of that. And obviously you do need to get into this area because you could be getting knocked down on the outside of if you stay in the tunnel. So we have these sort of mithril nodes. They also do allow you to, it's the only place in Guild Wars 2 at the moment where you can get azurite crystals. So it is important if you're going to want to create an azurite orb that are very, very expensive at the moment. That's used for Sentinel's gear. So just be wary of that. So you can see here, we're stacking behind the sort of boring machine, and we just managed to get in. And again, we've got some enemies that we're trying to take out, and this time they are bats. Not too particularly dangerous. You can see if you look at our party on the left hand side, none of us is really losing health against these enemies. But again, we have to put a boulder on top of the geyser and we'll mine some mithril. That's pretty much it as we go so far. Nothing really else to report. And this was quite an interesting sort of update when we had this part of the Living World story in the Flame and Frost series. I quite enjoyed it. You look back and you think, oh, that wasn't too bad. And I think that ArenaNet learned a lot of lessons from this. We now have some elementals coming in, but again, it's nice the fact that obviously they're having difficulty bringing the Living World Season 1 back for the players, because obviously Season 2 they had it ready made that obviously you'd be able to replay it. Season 1 was a bit of a learning process, and it's good that they actually put some of that stuff into the Fractal of the Mists. And that's the sort of thing I'd like to see more of from the Fractals, as again we get some more ooze coming in here. But I'd like to see a lot of other, sort of Guild Wars 1 events in the Fractal of the Mists. Imagine if Ebon Nashblade had won, which was when we had the choice between Ellen Keel and Ebon Nashblade. When we were voting for the Captain's Council. Imagine if Ebon Nashblade had won and we had the Abaddon Fractal. Would that have been something to do with Guild Wars 1? Maybe? Or maybe it would even have been something to do with the gods and how they defeated Abaddon. Oh, that would, can you imagine if you, obviously there are 5 other gods. Can you imagine if you were playing as the 5 gods and you had to defeat Abaddon? How cool would that be? But there we go. That's just, my creativity wandering there. We've got these Morillos that we're just defeating here, nothing too serious again. Now, the next bit is a little bit tricky, particularly at higher level fractals. This is again, it's level 10 fractal. So we actually had a lot less enemies coming up, and it was a lot easier for us to defeat them. Now, what happens here, we've actually put all the geysers out, we've got all the boulders on top of them, and we're going to proceed into this next chamber. There are a lot of the Molten Alliance there, and in the higher level fractals they are quite numerous. And the idea is, what I'm going to show you after we've defeated them on this level, is actually that there is places to pull them over, because they really do a lot of damage. You can see I'm getting knocked down here. I can't even get to this the bloody fights that are going on. They're veterans, but they are level 80. At higher level fractal levels they become level 82 or 83. And so they are pretty tanky and do a significant amount of damage. So you can see here we're not having too many issues dealing with them. I was knocked back there, so we were 4-manning this. But generally the idea is that you run over to this point here. There's 2 options. You can either go to the right and stack behind a rock there, or you can come to the left and stack behind the rock here. Different options, different, sort of depending on how your party prefers, and so that's what I'd recommend. We have this little steam vent here that you have to wait for it to go off, otherwise you can get killed pretty quickly. It does knock down a lot of health. You can see a guy behind us, one of the warriors has died because he's got caught in the steam. And so what we're going to do, we're going to carry on without him. He can resurrect, no problem. And we come down, we'll sort of meander around. There's a couple of different paths you can go down. You can see one of my party members has taken a different sort of choice, but we still come out the same place. There's no big deal here. You'll get sort of lava spitting up just want to watch out for that. It does cause fire damage. There you go, you can see that little lava blob sort of land. You can see there our party member sort of has to work, we have to get out of combat and allow him to come along. So I'm just going to cut it in and then allow sort of the guys to sort of respawn. And we'll enter this sort of pit here next. Okay, so our member's resurrected, and this area here, you'll notice there's a sort of essential object. That's what we actually have to destroy. But it only becomes vulnerable after several phases. Sort of every 25% you damage it, the sort of dredge will sort of launch another wave of attacks. So here we're stacked in a particular corner. This is a very good location to stack. There are several effects that you can avoid just by standing in this location, and you'll get this dredge that's up there. He'll be launching attacks. And the first thing we get is these sort of stompers. I'm not really showing it very well because I'm stacked up there, but they will knock you back and they cause a bit of damage. You'll notice we're under this effect, stressed as well, so we're suffering degeneration. It's only 1 health, so it's not too major. It's like sort of, it'll eventually kill us. But these stompers do knock you down. They cause you a bit of damage as well. And you can see there we've got there's 4 stompers around the room. You can jump over them like the Tequatl wave, but again, not causing too much issues. It is a good place to stand in the middle here because you can also sort of jump over them. You avoid 2 of the waves completely. It does allow you time to jump over them as well. Not a sort of devastating attack. Obviously, this is again level 10 fractal, so it's not going to be too much damage. What we're going to do, we're going to come to this point here. You will notice it's now vulnerable, the thermal core, and you want to damage that as quickly as possible because otherwise you'll get the Molten Alliance will sort of grant protection to it. But there we go, so we damaged it 25% and the next phase will begin. And again, looking where we're stacked up, we're stacking by the gate in this middle bit here, and we'll avoid all the attacks. It's not too difficult. There are several places that we've been able to stack over the sort of since they've released this into the Fractals, and the devs try to sort of stop these hidden areas, but I mean this is such an easy place that we're avoiding all the attacks. We're just stacking up here, no threat at all, no damage being done to us, no worries. And then what will happen, the thermal core will become sort of vulnerable again, and we'll then take it down another 25%, and then we'll get the next phase of the attacks. So this is quite a unique sort of area, the fact that we're actually having all these things that we have to avoid. And I think if we didn't have these hiding areas, it'd be very tricky to avoid all of this as I try and come out a little bit early. But anyway, we've got the thermal core here. The only downside for myself is that I'm actually a condition damage engineer. I'm not a DPS. But look here, it's actually shielded by a veteran, sort of a protector. So there we go, there's the Molten protector. He's protecting himself. There is a way to sort of stop this. You use your shield, my shield, to knock him back, which actually interrupts him and causes us, the thermal core, to actually sort of become vulnerable. So my nice little skill 4 on my shield there actually knocked him back, and that interrupted his sort of casting and allowed us to defeat or to damage the thermal core. So just a little thing there, you want to make sure that if you've got high DPS, you take out the thermal core pretty quickly. Otherwise, those protectors are a bit of a pain in the arse, and you want to have a few knockbacks. This is a little bit trickier. They have sort of nerfed the fact that you can hide from this flame area. I struggled. I actually get down in this stage. I thought there was another way you could hide, but we've got our guardian here. It's supposed to be healing us up. Wasn't doing it very well for me. Trying to evade, but I'm still suffering fire damage. And I thought, okay, well, let's go back to the corner and see if we can sort of avoid the damage there, but nope. It is quite a lot of AoE effects. I thought, yeah, look, I'm in the corner. Yeah, I'm avoiding the attacks. Oh, wait, hang on. What's he going to do now? Oh, shit, he's not avoiding me. Oh, okay, get back. Oh, no. So, yes, I did struggle there, and you'll see me get down, which is annoying because I lose all my condition, the sigil I have gives me a bit boost to my condition damage. But there we go, and we're going to get the thermal core become active again. Now what's going to happen, you'll defeat sort of damage the thermal core, and then it will become invulnerable. And then what will happen? The molten guy will go berserk and go, "Come on, damage it all! You know, throw everything at them." At that point, you just stay at the thermal core and you just completely damage it, completely destroy it. So here we go. We're getting all the different tests. Getting everything thrown at us. So taking out the thermal core as soon as possible is crucial. And there we go. The test will now stop. Now we want to stack again by the gate area, because at this stage we actually get the sort of the champion guy. He will come down at this point here and start attacking us. So you'll notice here we're all nicely stacked. We're going to stay at this point here, and then we're going to attack the champion. He's not too difficult to take out. I'm going to drop my supply crate there, and then we're going to take him out with the bombs. My bomb 3 skill is pretty good because it gives a hell of a lot of confusion. You'll notice I'm just doing a hell of a lot of combi damage, and this is what my engineer's designed for. This type of thing, taking out, look at that, 2,000, I'm doing 3,000 damage, pretty sweet, through condition damage, through my bleeds and through the fire. I don't know what happened there, I got sort of warped away for some reason. But anyway, the test engineer, the champ, gets down pretty quickly, and that's the end of the fractal. And I'm hoping this guide has been pretty cool, pretty useful for you, and that you'll actually be able to get through this fractal pretty quickly now. So there we go, we've done this fractal. The next fractal is actually the cliffside fractal, which I've already covered on my channel, so I'm not going to show that today on the channel because it's pointless. When we come to the final fractal, this is the Molten Boss fractals, and this is probably the quickest fractal boss to do. So what we'll do, we have, as we just, one of our party members was trying to do something, I don't know what, I think he was trying to give us some sort of bonus. But you'll get this sort of champion flame effigy. This is a bit tricky, it can cause significant damage, and what happens at around, I don't know, 50 odd %, where we are now, you'll get a load of Flame Legion ads that will come down this ramp, sort of Molten Alliance ads, and they've got like a lot of fire damage, and they can really, if you're concentrating and forget about them, they will really sort of, wreck your chances of killing this boss, and will, sort of can defeat you. So you want to be wary of that. So you'll notice one of our guys got down because of this Molten Effigy's pretty substantial AoE effect. I'm trying to blind him as quickly as possible. So you can see now he's down to 50%. And what I'm doing, I'm keeping an eye. I'm back here because I'm trying to keep an eye on the ramp. So what you can see here, we're really damaging this flame, the effigy. There you go. You can notice the Molten Alliance coming down the ramp. I'm going to try and use a sort of supply crate to interrupt them. Use a sort of frost grenade to slow them down and try and separate them, but that igniter is a real pain in the arse. It really does do a significant amount of flame sort of fire damage. I'm using my shield to sort of knock one of them back, sort of again separate them, but you can see that the igniter destroyed one of my turrets pretty damn quickly. So we defeated the flame effigy or the molten effigy, and we're taking out the flame, sort of this Molten Alliance. I keep calling them the Flame Legion. They are the Molten Alliance because they have Char and Dredge there as well. And at this level, at level 10, they're not too tricky. Again, can be difficult. And that's it. I'm going to resurrect Frostbite. Oh, there's one more there. Just as well, the final two bosses is also, again, this is also part of the Flame and Frost Living World series, Season 1. Which obviously is quite funny considering the previous Fractal was also part of the Living World Season 1. And this is where we take on the two main bosses. There is a strategy to this. You want to take out the Char first, because he does this knockback, which is pretty substantial. At higher levels, 40 and onwards, this is absolutely devastating, because it can knock you, if within 3 sort of waves, he can knock you down and basically end you completely, and it goes on for quite a while. You notice as well, I was the only one to suffer agony damage there, and that is because I have 5 agony resistance. Okay, so we've got the two bosses here. You want to take out the Berserker first. The Firestorm does do a lot of damage, but you'll notice here, there's that AoE wave effect. Remember, at higher levels he will be doing a lot more damage to you, particularly if you have limited agony resistance. Because I'm a pretty good condition damage engineer, I am going to be owning the Molten Berserker, as well as my other party having a fair amount of DPS. You know, look, he's already down to 50%. A little side note, a little point: if you do die in this, you know, while they're both alive, if you manage to kill one of them, your whole party will automatically resurrect. So, well, you know, their party members, you know, that will resurrect. And that is a key point, that obviously if you've got one person left alive and they're able to take out the Berserker, then the rest of your party can sort of resurrect. So what happens at this stage, when one of them dies, the other takes their sort of components, and it is more beneficial to kill the sort of Berserker first, because he is a lot harder if you kill the Firestorm first than the Berserker taking his damage. So now you notice we've got this swirling effect, so we can't go too far, we're pretty contained, and it does do this sort of fire AoE effects that are pretty deadly. But at Fractal level 10 he's not too tricky to take out, especially with the damage we're able to inflict on him. He's a little bit annoyingly out of my sort of, I have to use grenades rather than bombs for this part. He does that knockdown, which can be a little bit annoying, so you want to be just a bit wary of some of the attacks that he can do. But again, generally this is the quickest sort of final boss Fractal to do out of the 3, considering Mitrin and more, so people will enjoy it. And there we go, that is this boss and this Fractal run complete. I'm hoping you guys have enjoyed it. Feel free to leave any comments, and thanks very much for watching. See you on the next video.